Today, we're going inside an organization you might not know by name, but whose work impacts pretty much everything. We're talking about the planet's watchdog, the IUCN. So let's start with a simple question. We've all heard the term endangered species, right? But have you ever stopped to think, who actually decides that? Who makes the official call that an animal or a plant is on the brink of disappearing forever? Well, it's not just a guess. It turns out that for the last 77 years, one single organization has been the world's go-to authority on this. They are, quite literally, the final word on the health of our planet. And that organization is the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or as most people know it, the IUCN. They were founded way back in 1948, and their mission is pretty much right there in the name: conserve nature and make sure we're using our natural resources sustainably, all across the globe. But here's the thing. To really get what the IUCN is about today, you've got to understand how much they've changed. Their whole mission has evolved over time, from just protecting things to building massive global partnerships. And you can see that whole story right here. Back in '48, it was simple: protect nature. But then in 1964, something huge happened. They published the very first red list of threatened species, making them a data powerhouse. The '80s brought in the idea of sustainability, and by the 2000s, they're working with businesses and pushing this cool idea of nature-based solutions, basically using nature to help solve our own problems. This change in thinking is massive. The old way was something called fortress conservation. You know, the Yellowstone model. Put a fence around a beautiful place and keep people out. The problem, it was often criticized for kicking indigenous people off their own land. The modern idea of nature-based solutions is the total opposite. It's all about working with people, with governments, with businesses, and integrating their livelihoods into the solution. And their mission statement today says it all. Listen to the words they use: influence, encourage, and assist. They're not saying command or force. It's about collaboration. And that focus on making sure things are equitable as well as sustainable, that's huge. It puts people right at the center of the solution. So that all sounds great, but how does an organization this big actually get anything done? How does this union for nature really work? Well, the biggest clue is in the name. It's a union. This isn't one single company. It's a massive network made up of over 1,400 different member organizations. And the membership is incredibly diverse. We're talking entire countries and their government agencies, big international NGOs, smaller local ones, and, this is really important, organizations representing indigenous peoples. It's a true coalition. Okay, I get it, it's a big club, but you might be wondering, how does a union based in Switzerland actually help protect wildlife in a country like, say, Pakistan? How does that connection work?
That is a great question. And to answer it, let's just zoom in and look at a real-world example. Let's take a look at conservation in Pakistan.
So, in Pakistan, one of the main players is the National Council for Conservation of Wildlife, or the NCCW. They're the government body in charge of protecting the country's wildlife and natural reserves. And here it is. Here's the crucial link. The NCCW, on behalf of Pakistan, has been an official state member of the IUCN since all the way back in 1975. That's the bridge. That's how global policy connects to local action. Now, it hasn't always been a smooth ride for the NCCW. It got started in the '70s, but then, under a previous administration, it actually became inactive. It took until 2017 for it to be officially brought back online to continue its really important mission. And they've had some major wins. The NCCW got Pakistan's national conservation strategy off the ground in '93. They helped set up managed forests like the famous Changamunga, and in 2008, they made a critical call to discourage the commercial export of wildlife. These are real, tangible results. Okay, so let's zoom back out. Why does any of this matter? Well, it all comes down to that vital link between the global and the local. Because when you boil it all down, what the IUCN model really proves is a simple, powerful truth. You can have the biggest, best global goals in the world, but they mean absolutely nothing without people on the ground to make them happen.
So think of it like this. The IUCN provides the science and the standards, the red list. Then it acts as the hub, connecting that huge network of over 1,400 members. And it's that very structure that allows a big global idea to become real conservation on the ground, thanks to members just like the NCCW in Pakistan.
It's an incredible system, built entirely on influence, partnership, and science. Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. As the environmental threats facing our planet just keep getting bigger, is this unique model of global cooperation our best hope?